Hello and welcome back, everybody, to episode number 6 of the MK Mobile Podcast. And this episode is huge because we are going to talk about Mortal Kombat Mobile in the year 2020. It is going to be a year in review episode. We're going to talk about the most favorite characters, the best brutalities, best towers, whatever else came out of the game in the year 2020. And I am fortunate enough to have two amazing people to sit down and talk to about this game. The first being none other than Bojidar and Mand. He has been a longtime follower of mine, as well as just a longtime player of the game itself. And when he's not trying to figure out how to string together combos for the characters in the game, he's testing characters, and he is also just all in all putting out amazing content for the game itself. The second person is none other than Mand. Now, this is a channel and a gentleman that I was introduced to this last year itself, and by far one of my favorite YouTubers for this game right now. He just creates very helpful and very entertaining content, and all in all, it was just really nice to get to talk to him as well and get his views on this last year. Okay, but before we get into the interviews, we need to just cover all of the content that came out in this last year. So let's go over what has happened in the year 2020, all the way back to January, right before the shit hit the fan, if you know what I mean. We had just received Dark Fate Terminator, so we got our first Terminator, as well as the Lin Kuei Tower was kind of wrapping up. It was getting close to ending, so we didn't really know what was next. And then we find out that in January 2020, update 2.4, we are getting a third assassin character, that obviously being Assassin Scarlet. Now, the next time we would see these three assassins together would be later on in another tower at Fight 177, which will forever be ingrained in my brain because of the stress that it had caused me there. But we'll get into that here in a second. So yeah, Assassin Scarlet came. We got to see, those three together and how they work together as a team. Then February 2020 came around. We got update 2.5, where we found out that we were also getting another Black Dragon member. Black Dragon Tremor was making his arrival, and this was setting us up for a tower which we did not know about yet, but that was coming up pretty soon, because that is going to be what we're going to be talking about here pretty soon. But anyways, I think it's important to note in March of 2020, they did come out with this Discord poll wanting to know who was on our wish list for characters. And for what happened at the end of this last year, I think it's important because maybe that poll had something to do with getting this next character, or that character we're going to talk about here in a little bit. So April 2020 rolls around, update 2.6. It's their 5-year anniversary for the game itself, so they celebrated that. That's kind of a big deal. And then, of course, we find out why they made a Black Dragon Tremor, because here comes the Black Dragon Tower. Now, this was an interesting tower because there were two difficulties. We hadn't had that before, and you were guaranteed a Diamond Kano and a Diamond Tremor on the different difficulties. Kano was the easier, the normal difficulty, and Black Dragon Tremor was the hard difficulty. So that was pretty interesting. I thought that was neat. And along with that came two new brutalities. Obviously, Black Dragon Cabal got his, and Black Dragon Kano got one as well. So next up, July 2020 update 2.7. Things were heating up because we saw the arrival of the Shira Ryu Towers. Now, with that came the second gold ascension. The first gold ascension, if you remember, was Kano. Now we're seeing three different golds get ascended into the diamond tier. That was Raiden, MK11 Raiden, MK11 Cabal, and MK11 Jade. And we kind of came to find out why, because we were getting three new brutalities, Jade being one of them, and down the road we get another one, which we'll talk about here in a second. But yeah, three new brutalities in July. Scorpion, Liu Kang, and Jade all came out in that update. So then we got Smoke. Also was kind of revealed, the fact that he was coming to the game. We weren't sure quite how to get him yet, but that is when they made that announcement that yes, Classic Smoke was going to come. So August 2020, 2.7.1, they had a hotfix patch, and that is when they also released the new Terminator, Guardian Terminator. We had kind of known that we were going to get him because people had found him in the game here and there. In the feats of strength, we had already started getting some of his whatever, so people kind of knew he was there, but he did finally show up in that hotfix update. And then that takes us to October 2020, update 3.0, where they just dropped a ton of awesome stuff. The return of the Tower of Horror made a return. The new Nightmare Tower was out. Obviously, my favorite character, Noob Saibot, came out, which, going back to talking about that Discord poll, maybe that had something to do with it, maybe not. I think everybody knew Noob Saibot was wanted, but he was finally available, which is huge. A couple other things. Okay, so Classic Smoke was now also available as a reward through Faction Wars or Survival Mode, because that was a new game mode that they also came out with. Autoplay feature was another thing they came out with 3.0. A bunch of things happened. Raid and Brutality got one. Noob Saibot also got Brutality. So just a ton of stuff. There's Survival Mode again. But yeah, bringing us to November 2020. Update 3.0.1. Cold War Scarlet made her appearance. So Cold War Scarlet was coming in that update, which kind of led us into December, which we didn't really know. Some of us kind of thought we were going to get a Cold War Tower, but that came in update 3.1 where it was confirmed we were getting the Cold War Tower. Scarlet also got a Brutality, as well as Sonya. So another character that made his appearance was MK11 Shang Tsung. He is now available in the game itself. And also, one of the really cool things is they threw in another background. That was kind of the biggest part for me. They threw in the Retrocade, which I love to see different backgrounds in this game, and that was freaking awesome to see that. Also, we got a look at Classic Noob Saibot. He is now available in the game as well. We just don't know how to get him yet, but he is included in that, or we see him make his appearance in that Cold War Tower. So with that, everybody, that's just kind of a quick recap of what has happened in this last year. Now, let's get into the interviews and just have fun listening to these two guys. They're great guys. And here we go. I went back and looked at some of my videos from like 4 years ago, some of those Your Suggested Teams videos, and you were following me and giving me team suggestions way back then. I think the one I looked at was from like 2017, and I was just going through like the comments and then like who the people that got picked in the video, and your name kept popping up. So thank you for listening to me blab my mouth for 4+ years.
No worries.
So now we get to talk together finally. So with that, everybody, let's get into it, and we're just gonna do another 2020 breakdown, the best of 2020 MK Mobile year in review. So with that, there was a lot of different things that happened in 2020 in the game, and I think maybe we'll start with just talking about any favorite new characters that came out, Bojidar, that you really like to see come to the game.
I would probably want to see MK11 spawn, because in the console game he looks freaking sick.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm a huge Spawn fan myself. If they could add him to the game, that would be amazing. And I think they probably would too, just for the fact that he's so marketable. He has his own toy line.
Yeah.
McFarlane Toys actually makes the people that make Spawn. They actually make MK11 character as well. So I could see them teaming up to drop him in the mobile game itself. So, but how about just over the last year that they came out with? So I think they came out with like 7 characters: Assassin Scarlet, Black Dragon Tremor, Gold Smoke, Guardian Terminator, Noob Saibot, Cold War Scarlet, and then Shang Tsung were all released this last year. So did any of those characters maybe become your favorite just from this last year by chance?
Yes, it would be MK11 Noob Saibot.
Definitely, yeah. I am right there with you. Man and I were talking that Scarlet it was nice to see her, but we just nothing was really interesting. But once they dropped Noob Saibot, which I think we've all been waiting for a long time.
Yeah, we wanted him for so much that he's finally here.
Yeah, he finally made it. And I do think it's important maybe to note that back in March, they had that poll on their Discord, and they were asking who they would like to see. So maybe they listened to the community with that poll, because I know Noob Saibot was right at the top. So it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible they did listen to the community there. So yeah, I've got to agree with you there. He, out of those 7 characters, definitely my favorite. We still have yet to. They did have an 8th character, but we don't know how he's going to be released yet with Classic Noob Saibot. So hopefully, he plays as fun as MK11 noob whenever they decide how they're going to release him. So
I kind of played with Classic Noob, but by chance with Circle of Shadows Kitana
oh
in the Cold
yes,
War Tower,
yes,
and by first look, not much.
not much. Okay,
He he kind of looks decent, but
yeah.
yeah, as you said, we shall see soon enough.
Yeah, I feel like when you do use Katana's passive like that, sometimes you don't. It doesn't feel like you get the full control over the character, because you only get like the first special, I believe, right? Like they don't allow you to get up to SP2, if I
Yeah,
remember.
it's a bit limiting at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah, and their health seems
Not
small too. So
yeah. If only we had like the passive of Injustice 2 Sub-Zero to clone them.
yes, that's true. Like in Injustice 2 mobile, you're talking about.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yep. That would be cool. Yeah. Be a completely different character at that point. So, yeah, I totally agree with you. Noob Saibot was definitely my favorite over the last year. Another thing that we had a lot of were towers. They really went all out on towers this last year. It seems like we had the Black Dragon Tower, the Shiryu, the Return of the Tower of Horror, then the new Nightmare Tower, and then of course what's up now, the Cold War Tower. So as far as like
Yes.
those towers that they brought out, did any of those? Did you have a favorite one of those?
Speaking the truth, probably the Shirai Ryu Tower, because it was mostly one of the first towers to be this difficult.
Yeah.
Especially on the last 20 battles,
Mm-hmm.
as they introduced them with 2 modifiers instead of 1.
Definitely. Yes. I agree with that because the year before we saw the Lin Kuei Tower, the original Tower of Horror, and even the Black Dragon Tower. They, as far as difficulty goes, I totally agree with you. They were relatively easy. Like you could kind of breeze through them. I mean, the Lin Kuei Tower had difficulty, but it was passable. When you got to
Yeah,
the Shiryu Tower, that's when things got. What was it? 177 was the assassin fight. That one really, I mean, threw me off for sure. But before that, those other towers, you never saw a battle like that. It wasn't. They definitely changed the difficulty of the towers as they went on. So for you, the Shiryu Tower was the favorite.
yes,
Um,
it
I,
is.
I would have to say I had a lot of fun with the Nightmare Tower, but obviously I really like to see the Tower of Horror return. That was fun for me, just to see that thing come back. I wish it would have stayed around a little bit longer, but what are you gonna do? Apparently they wanted to
Yeah, I
get rid of
agree
it.
with you as well.
So okay, so moving right along with the new towers, obviously we got new brutalities as well. That seems to be the way they're gonna operate with these towers from going on. New tower, new equipment, new brutalities. We had, let's see, who we had. I have a list here. We had 9 new brutalities this last year. We had Black Dragon Cabal, Black Dragon Kano, Scorpion got one, Liu King, Jade got one, Raiden, Noob Saibot, obviously Scarlet, and then just recently Sonya as well. So with those lists of 9, which one for you is like stands out as being one of your favorite?
It would be definitely Scorpions,
Nice.
because
Yeah.
it is just a classic throwback to his MK1 fatality.
Yep. Yep. That's that. I agree with you. That's the one I picked too. I love at the end where he's just like breathing hellfire up in the air. Like in and out of the letters of that say brutality. I love it. So, yeah, I think they all look really cool, but that one sticks out the most to me just because, like you said, it does. It's like a classic throwback to the OG days of the game itself.
Absolutely.
So we're cruising right through this. So if you have anything to mention, please do. But uh, is there any other like memorable moment that stuck out for you, or any memorable or notable thing that happened in the game this last year you saw?
Um, Probably I would mention Black Dragon Tremor getting, not Tremor, Kano,
Mm-hmm.
getting his first brutality, because not only in 2019 he descended to a diamond
Yep.
diamond tier, which made him finally not cost less than other god characters.
That's so true.
but make him even better.
Oh yeah, he went from rags to riches overnight. You know, like you said, his old passive was literally just like he costs what was it? He costs less than other gold characters, I think is what you just said.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was it.
Which is crazy. Which is like I think they made that up on a Friday. Everybody wanted to get off work, so they just made that up real quick and got out of there. But yeah, that ascension was huge, and the brutality was huge too, because he was now a really valuable character, and he had a team to fit into with as well. So, and it kind of makes sense because they were gearing us up for that Black Dragon Tower, even though we didn't know it was coming yet. You know, they were kind of building up these other characters to fit into that tower. So, yeah, definitely. Um,
Yeah,
the one thing I think that stands out the most to me, obviously, I love the game. There's some practices, some like corporate things that happen that I'm not a fan of. Obviously, I don't think anybody is. But what I really do like is over the last year, I've been able to get closer with the community, like yourself, and discover other people that have a vested interest in this game and just love to play it and love to talk about it and BS about it. That I think above the game itself has really stuck out to me because I get joy in seeing people get help passing certain levels or just making goofy videos or just talking with like you or 45 or KC or whoever it might be. um, that's new to me this year, like at this level that we're doing it, because before we just chat back and forth on either YouTube comments or on Twitter or something like that. But I feel like this last year everybody's kind of came a lot closer, especially with the difficulties of these towers. So that's been fun for me over the last year, just getting to know people better. But
yeah,
so
yeah, absolutely. We so much got together over the past year with the difficulties in this hard time that it was really enjoyable.
right,
I have
totally,
to really agree with you.
totally, especially with everything else happening in the world. It's nice to have a place to come to like get away from that for a little bit. There's got enough stress out of the game. It's just nice to have a break, and this game it does it for me. So with that, like going forward into next year, which we're in already, but this year, what would you look forward to, or what would you like to see happen in the game itself?
It is only one thing, one main thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that is fixing all the bugs.
Yes. Yep. That I feel like that needs to be looked at because they have a beautiful game. They have a really, the graphics are great, the gameplay's good, but it does seem like the bugs have gotten out of control a little bit. Well, not a little bit, but quite a bit over this last year. They kind of forgot, and talking with other people, they also share that same sentiment. So I agree.
Yeah,
I would
they
love to
did.
see them maybe just focus or hire more people to focus just solely on the bugs and maybe somebody to listen to the community that are giving them the list, like yourself, like you and KC do a great job of like finding these, especially right after updates. You guys are on it. Like after an update, you and KC are immediately following up with like, oh, this character is now having problems with his SP2 or something like that. So they kind of need someone to be in that position to say, okay, we got to look at this character. Let's do a patch, fix it, and get it back up online. So, yeah, that'd be great. I would love to see that as well.
Yeah, especially when we both, if we have time at the start of an update, we go through every single character that we made a bugs list.
Yeah.
And if there is still the issue, we would carry it over in Casey's next tweet.
Yes. Yep.
But the surprising thing, though, is when they release the patch notes after every update, at least 70 or 80% of the bugs fixed, we haven't even heard of.
Oh, that is kind of weird, isn't it? Yeah, it's like it makes you wonder where they're getting their list from,
Yeah.
and maybe they're not like, maybe they're just getting data from like mining the game and finding these bugs, or and not like listening to the feedback from the community or something. That is weird. I guess I never even knew that, but that is interesting. So, well, couldn't agree with you more on that. I would love to see because, like I said, they have a great framework. The game's awesome, but they need to fix they need to fix it from within and get going from there. So so with that, we are at the point of this podcast where a little segment I call Test Your Might. I'm just going to read a passive of a character, and then you'll have a chance to guess what character it is. And I guarantee it's pretty easy. So are you ready for this?
Yes, I
Okay.
am.
I'm actually going to read the passive first. Then, if you need it, I'll give the name of the passive. So when this character defeats an opponent, she recovers a percentage of that enemy's max health. Female teammates gain health when she defeats an opponent.
That would be classic Melina.
You got it. Yep. I was going through the characters. I was like, I'm trying to figure out which one would be good. And then I was like, well, they're all, sometimes they even like say the character in the passive name. So yeah. So congratulations. That was good. The passive name, by the way, was called Femme Fatale, which probably would have definitely gave that away as well. Now I do have one that might be a little harder, and I will read this, the description first. So this character's SP1, special 1, disables his opponent's block, making all incoming attacks considered unblockable for 10 seconds. When special 2 is performed at 80% or more, it activates a continuous chain of special attacks up to 6 times. So this one's
that would be the new classic noob Cybot.
You got it. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, so that was called Blessed by the Shadow. Because I threw that one in there because, like I said at the beginning, we kind of have that character. We just don't know how they want to release them yet. So awesome, dude. I knew that wouldn't be a problem for you at all. So, well, that brings us to the end. It's just a short and sweet podcast. Get to know you better. Get to talk about this last year of the game that we both love to play. So just for wrap up, like where can people find you? Like YouTube, Twitter, any other socials that you want to mention?
Yes, everyone, you can find me on Twitter at Bojidar Mitrev, or my tag name being Oshka, or on YouTube, just Bojidar Mitrev.
Awesome. Well, Bojidar, thank you so much for sitting down and spending some time with me. This was a blast. This was the first time that we've actually got to speak in person, so it was really cool for me because, like I said, I've known you over YouTube and Twitter for a long time, but it's nice to actually talk to someone in person for once. So I really appreciate it, and we definitely have to do more of these in the future.
Yeah, for sure, man.
But I should say the way I found you was through some mutuals like KC and Man with No Game 45. And I must say, I really appreciate the work that you're doing on your channel because it's so nice to see another MK Mobile YouTuber making quality content that's not just out there to exploit the game. It's actually helping players who want to try to like help themselves in the game. So I really do appreciate that, and your channel is one of my favorites by far. So I thought I'd throw that out there, especially with how crazy 2020 was, just the ups and downs and everything. It's good to have something to take your mind off of it, and your channel provided that for me. So
yeah, it was a crazy year.
It sure was. Yeah. So, well, speaking of that, why don't we just jump right into the best of 2020, just MK Mobile, the year in review, and we'll just kind of start off with all the different characters that came out this year. I have a list here. It looks like we have 7 new characters this last year, plus one kind of official with the classic Noob Saibot. So any of those characters kind of really stand out to you, man, that you really just have enjoyed?
I enjoyed the Guardian Terminator. I believe it was a game changer.
Yes.
Because if you're facing Guardian Terminator, it's like you don't know what to do at certain situations, especially if it has 2 bars of power. It can be pretty bad if you want to do some special attack.
Right.
And you have to aim at this very, very little time period when the opponent stack in, and then while the Guardian Terminator tagging is on cooldown, then you can do the special attacks. Otherwise, it's a really, really dangerous. Even if he has just 1 bar of power, then still he can do special 2 and cripple you and probably kill you because his special 2 is quite dangerous.
Oh, yeah. And one of my favorite animated, one of my favorite animated ones too, where he does the backbreaker and then has the semi-automatic or automatic weapon there. So that's pretty fun.
Yeah, the I'll be back breaker.
Yes, I'll be back. He also, like, I noticed in the towers, you have to really be careful when you want to spend your specials, because you could drop, let's say, Tournament Quan Chi or Circle Shadows Quan Chi. You could drop his number 2 thinking you're going to power drain and possibly take out a character. Then all of a sudden he flashes in and just you've just wasted basically most of the power in that special on him. So it's pretty. You have to really think about when you want to drop those specials if he's an opponent. So I agree with that.
Yeah, and probably the worst team in the game. When I say worst, I mean the worst to face. It should be Jason, Jade, Assassin Jade, and Guardian Terminator.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Absolutely horrible.
It would be a true nightmare team right there itself. So
they should do like a Battle 199 the next tower, just in simulation.
That would be.
I'm just kidding. If they do, people will hate me for it because I don't think how can possibly be this team with gold characters. It would be horrible.
I think you'd have a lot of people snapping their phones on their knees, like just stressed out and breaking their phones for sure on a team like that. So I know this last Cold War tower, there was quite a few that I was pretty close to doing that as well. But so with
it was the hardest tower by far, in my opinion.
The hardest tower was which one?
This one.
The Cold War tower. Oh, definitely. Yeah, I knew when they announced that they're going to have it. Just looking at some of the Cold War. Their passives, I knew it was going to be definitely a problem. And then obviously bosses already have an added buff anyways, and then the equipment on top of that was made it very tough. It is still very tough, even though we have all these tactics to get through some of these battles. It's still challenging. Some of those battles are definitely very challenging. So you mentioned this is the hardest tower of the year. Did you have a favorite tower of the year? It looks like we had 5 total of them. We had the Black Dragon, the Shiryu, the Return of the Tower of Horror, even though it was short-lived. We had the Nightmare Tower, and then, of course, the Cold War Tower. So did any of those stand out to you as far as just favorite to play through or anything like that?
Not really. I can say that my least favorite tower for some weird reason was the Nightmare Tower. I didn't enjoy it, probably because I don't really think that a Nightmare team is something you have to strive for in the sense that you want to max those characters.
Right. And
in my opinion, those characters outside of a Nightmare team are stronger if you can support them better. Because a Nightmare team on its own, it seems that it's a team of 3 strangers. This is my opinion. Of course, I tried this team. I have them all maxed out, but I don't enjoy it. When it comes to my favorite tower, it's by far the Tower of Horror.
Right.
Now, the problem is that a Tower of Horror, when it was released, the challenge wasn't there, but it has pretty good drop rate. So this is the one main reason why I like the Tower of Horror. After the Tower of Horror, they increased the difficulty, which was a good thing because the Tower of Horror wasn't difficult at all. But they killed the drop rate to the extent that now, literally, you have to play like 2,000, not 2,000, but let's say 1,000 games in order to get one random epic, and that's way too small of a drop rate.
Yeah. You can see you can definitely see the evolution of the towers starting from last year when they came out with the Lin Kuei and the Tower of Horror, the original one. They were just a breeze to play through. They were just like giving you gifts left and right, and I think the team at NetherRealm may have noticed that. It was like, okay, this is maybe a little too easy. We need to make this a little harder. And also, of course, with that comes less equipment. That's just kind of the business model they're going with right now. And also include more equipment. But yeah, you can definitely see the just how it's changing over time, which some people may like, some people may not. But that's a good point to where the drop rates are next to nothing as what they were last year. With that tower.
Well, I understand at some point that they want to make money and they found the recipe for success in the tower equipment. And that's fine if they want to make money out of it. I mean, everybody should earn a living, right? Problem is that the main problem with the game for the past, actually all the way since day 2.0, the main problem with the game is that they entirely focus on the making money aspect of the game, and they haven't focused on what is the actual problem with the game apart from the towers. They can always create a new tower. Sure. It doesn't matter. They can create a new tower even for Monk, and they can release some crazy gear for Monk. So if he dies, like, the just remains at 1 HP left or something.
Right.
But the thing is, the main problem with the game, in my eyes, and this is a problem that's been there for years, is that we don't have new gold challenge characters. Right. And sooner or later, if they keep releasing only diamonds, we'll have more diamonds than golds, which is extremely imbalanced and even laughable in my eyes. Why should we consider diamonds as something great? And to be honest with you, if you have, like, say, 5 diamonds, you're good to go. You don't need the other diamonds. They just release diamonds for the sake of it. Mm-hmm. For example, they released Assassin's Scarlet, and nobody cares about Assassin's Scarlet. They released Black Dragon Tremor. Yeah. Nobody cares now about Black Dragon Tremor. Yeah. And he's pretty bad, to be honest. It's like, I want to find him a spot where he will shine. The only spot where he shines, he puts him as a opener so that he can resist all possible debuffs and then tag him out. Yeah. And that's his usage, basically.
Yeah, I remember. I just the video you just made reviewing 2020. That was one of your main points, was the lack of gold characters, as well as just the bugs and how they focused on making new equipment, and that's cool and everything. But they've kind of they need to have somebody in charge of, like, the community. You know, like they don't have any for that spot right now. Somebody that will take the feedback and actually do something with it. And I listened to your video and I agreed with the Scarlet. Yeah, I haven't really used her at all. Not the greatest character to play with. Tremor, I do have fun with Black Dragon Tremor, just with the Black Dragon team though. I just kind of throw him in there because I have Kano on there and I have Cabal on there as well. But the support and the bugs are definitely a part that I feel like over the last year they've kind of, like, laxed the support on. So I hope they get back to that at some point.
Oh, of course. I repeated that. It's almost the same statement on numerous occasions. Mm-hmm. And I often want to compare MK Mobile with another game that I cover, not because I want to point finger at somebody, say, look, this is so bad. But because this is the objective truth. The customer service of MK Mobile is really bad. It's like, if I have to grade it 1 to 10, I'll probably give it a 2. Sure. And probably it's going to be too much. It's really horrible. Yeah. Let's give you an example. There is a huge bug happening in the game. Towers 186 and 188, that's in the previous tower. Right. Yep. And not only that they don't do anything to fix it, but they don't even release compensation. And they will eventually release compensation only for the players that will email them and tell them, okay, there's a problem here, I cannot pass this stage, or this stage took me 10 attempts because of you. But only to those characters, those people, they release compensation. And I think that this is really, really bad. Yeah. They should give compensations to anybody because this bug affects anybody. It definitely does. Now, if I have to compare this to another game that I play, and I'm being completely honest, if such thing happens there, they will shut down the game immediately. They're going to fix it in 1 hour. Mm-hmm. Or even less, and they're going to release compensation to anybody. Right. I still remember there was some kind of a problem with some kind of a game feature. It doesn't matter. It's not important, but it didn't affect me at all. But they closed the game, they fixed it, and then they released compensation worth $100 to all players. Yeah, yeah. Now, imagine this happening in MK Mobile. They screw up something with a tower, then bring the game down, and then after the game is up, they give you a compensation of 10,000 souls. Right. It is absolutely impossible, right? You cannot even dream of such things happening.
Right. It would definitely be a start, though. I mean, like you said, they need to do something. I mean, they need to show that they are listening to us. They are taking the game seriously. It's not just a money-making deal for them. They also have this other angle to the game that they want to take care of the customers as well. And I think you were probably referring to like 186 with Dark Fate Terminator, where you would pretty much have to brutalize him first before you took out. Or
you have to be very careful. You shouldn't let him hit. Right. Well, it's in endoskeleton form. He hits you when he's very low, the game will freeze. But if he doesn't hit you, you can finish him without the brutalizing. Okay. Yeah. I managed to beat this level with gold cards, and I was extremely lucky.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. Hopefully, it's nice that you and I and other people can have discussions like this, and maybe that will get out to the developers, or maybe it'll get out to maybe not even the developers. I feel like the developers kind of have gotten a bad rap on some of this at points, but maybe it'll get to the right person at that company where there is a large enough community that's talking about this professionally, not just harassing, but professionally wanting, because we love the game and we want to honestly see it get fixed, because we do love the game and we love playing it. So hopefully that happens. I think our talks like this will help that going down the road, but that might be a whole nother discussion, another podcast for sure. But if we can, let's keep moving down this list real quick, where we mentioned the brutality, brutalizing Terminator. There were quite a few brutalities included this last year. I have a list of 9 of them here. So of those 9, and I can actually go through these if you want, but I know you know them. In fact, before I show our discussion, Mand, I'm actually doing a breakdown of the year, and I'll have graphics and all that stuff, and then I'll get into our discussions, just so it's easier for the listener and the viewer to understand what we're talking about. But out of all those brutalities, did any of them stick out to you that are some of your favorites? Or I guess, which one is your favorite out of the new?
Oh, it's classic Raiden's brutality. It's awesome.
It is awesome. Yes, it is. It's the most shocking, I should say.
Exactly. And the thing is, classic, but in particular, classic Raiden, or even Injustice 2 Raiden, but I prefer classic Raiden because, in my opinion, this is by far, and I mean by far, the best character for survival mode. He is literally total boss, and not only because he is strong as a character, but because he can give you more points in every single faction war season, except for the Netherlands one. So if you have this character maxed out, basically you're good to go. Mm-hmm. Especially if you have the Holy Trinity of survival mode, which is the Spec of Scorpion, and you can have a Fusion Zero. It doesn't matter, Fusion Zero Living Dead and Fusion Zero Cybernetic Heart on Classic Raiden as your opener, and you can totally dominate survival mode without any issue, without even being close of dying.
Definitely.
And having a brutality is just the cherry on the cake. It's pretty good looking brutality.
Just like totally sugar coated that Raiden right there. I unfortunately, the like classic Liu Kang, classic Raiden, I don't have them maxed very much. Like I wish I had them at a higher fusion, but I don't. So I see all these. I see like Man with No Game 45 just destroying towers with his team of Injustice 2 Raiden and classic Liu Kang, and I can't remember who the third character, but I just get so jealous because I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get them. And I actually did get another classic Liu Kang from Battle 100 of this Cold War Tower, so I was really happy to see that drop. But yeah. My favorite out of all those has to just be the Scorpion one, just because it's so iconic to the game itself, and it kind of like honors the lore and where it came from, and just where he's spitting the fire back and forth at the very end. I just love that, freaking love that. So
it looks awesome as well, but I couldn't get it, unfortunately for me.
Oh, you got to get another piece of equipment.
Yeah, I didn't do the Shiryu Tower. I got really pissed after I did it with Go Team from the beginning to the end.
Wow.
And I didn't want to waste time. I was, and at that point, to be honest, I didn't give anything. Let's go this way.
Sure.
About the brutalities, because brutalities didn't matter at this point.
Right.
I mean, you can do brutality to the last character. Wow. I mean, it is just something cool visual, and that's it. But now actually brutalities are more useful.
Yes.
Unfortunately for me, I didn't expect them to do that. So I hope that they're going to reinstate this tower so I can get the equipment.
Yeah, I hope so too. And they definitely do matter more now, because you can do a mid-match if you want to spend your talent points in that manner. But yeah, definitely. So we've covered quite a bit so far. We covered favorite new character, favorite tower, favorite brutalities. So any other memorable or notable moment that really stands out to you over the last year that you'd want to share or want to talk about?
When it comes to MK Mobile, right?
Correct. Yep. Sorry, yeah. I should preference that, yeah, because there's probably a lot that happened.
I had to clarify that. Yeah, so I liked some stuff in the game. I like Noob Saibot in the sense that he looks awesome, and he is a very unique character, and I love unique characters. What I disliked is... first, I hated Classic Smoke. I really hated him because first he was a reskin, and he was like, I mean, let's face it, he was just a Scorpion. They painted him gray, and he has this smoke coming out of his costume or whatever.
Right.
I know that he's supposed to look like this, but after 2 years of waiting, they released a gold character who cannot even be obtained in a challenge, and I was extremely disappointed to see that.
Yeah.
And the fact that they had to pay money in order to have a chance to get him really pissed me off. After 2 years of not having A single gold character. And another negative that I have to mention, they didn't give us anything for Christmas and New Eve.
Sure.
Now, granted, they gave us pretty good insane pack with the Guardian Terminator. I mean, it's a max amount. But still, for Christmas, their present was a chance to get Shansung if you pay money for it.
Yeah.
Come on,
No.
it felt really bad. It felt bad.
I don't buy packs that don't. If it's for actual money and there's a chance, I don't spend my money. It's like going to a vending machine and you might get that pop or you might not. It's just not. It doesn't make sense in my head to spend money on something you might not get. So I don't fall for those, and I hope other people don't either. And that would hopefully send a message when people stop buying those that that marketing tactic isn't working. But I agree. Yeah, Classic Smoke. I love that character. I do like playing the character. The aesthetics, yeah, kind of isn't much different than the other classics. The way I think what really kind of like threw me off was just the way they released him. I mean, like I was hoping for like a big release with him and maybe something in quest mode or like the way they did with Classic Reptile. But it was just kind of like they dropped him. You had a chance at first, and then later on he was obtainable in Faction Wars. So I think they kind of dropped the ball on that one. But right now he is a fun character for me to play.
Yeah, he's a pretty awesome character, especially if you haven't seen. A lot of people use him for Battle 199. They keep using Classic Reptile with Classic Smoke.
Oh, sure.
And those guys keep getting stunned, or MK11 Scorpion tags in and he sets himself on fire. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't like how he was released, exactly what you said. After so many years of waiting, they just gave us a character that, not even that, I don't think he took a lot of work to be done after all. And basically his special one is like Scorpion Spear. The only difference is that he doesn't say "get over here."
Right.
And it's like, and it's even feel really bad when he does special one because I expect just "get over here," and when I don't get it, I feel bad. But anyway, they just taught us something pretty cool about the game. It's not only negatives; it's a positive also.
Sure.
And the biggest positive for Auto Mode. Auto Mode was a game changer.
Huge.
You can grind a lot easier compared to what was the situation in the past.
Definitely.
Also, I loved 3.0. I loved survival mode, but the only problem with survival mode for me is that it made the previous Faction Wars mode obsolete.
Yeah.
So what they can possibly do is to distinguish what you can get. You can get from survival mode the current system of characters, whatever. Mm-hmm. And if you grind the other mode, you can get something different.
Sure.
For example,
we
they can possibly do that.
Yeah, you're right. Casey and 45 and I discussed this on our 3.0 podcast, and it was discussed that maybe they could have 2 leaderboards even. And Casey really shares the same feeling you do about it. Just completely makes the first Faction Wars invalid, whereas 45 likes the regular quick play is what they call it now, I guess. He likes that because he can test out his teams and that, and then take them into the survivor mode. So there's a lot of people on both sides. I, for one, I'm kind of indifferent. I just play both. I actually probably spend more time in quick play than I do in survivor mode, but that's just me. That's my life. I don't have a lot of time to sit down for 12 battles, and I can just use autoplay like you were saying and let it go, and then do something, make breakfast for the kid or something, and then turn around and see if I won or not. But yeah, no, that's autoplay was a huge game changer in my opinion as well.
Absolutely, and it also helps in a lot of situations, especially those extremely pesky games in the silver tier, in the challenges and bronze tier. If you don't want to spend coins, which I do usually, but sometimes I just do the auto combat, and that's fine. And another thing that I just thought of it, I think that's really important. It's again a good thing, but it can be improved on even further. And this is the announcement they make after each update. They usually say we added this and this and this feature to the game, but if they, for example, decide to nerf or let's say fix a character, they never announce it.
Oh, sure.
Or let's say they not never, but let's say in a huge majority of cases they don't announce it. Now they kind of do, but they don't have a full list of announcements. Let's go this way. For example, I still don't know, and I'm going to keep repeating this until I get an answer. It's been like 1 year, and I'm not tired of repeating it since November 2018, so it's close to 1.5 years. Ravenous Melina, her special to second part of it, stopped being unblockable out of nowhere, out of thin air. Nobody know what happened to her. I raised 2 tickets with support, and they sent me those generic answers. I've forwarded this thing to the developers, and I'm sorry that your experience with Melina is bad. Then I messaged them in Facebook. The support said, okay, what happened to my ticket? I didn't even receive an answer.
Sure.
They said, we can confirm that the ticket was successfully delivered to the developers, and that's it.
Right.
So 1.5 years later, I still don't know whether Melina has been nerfed, which I don't understand why they will nerf Melina. She was never really OP. Why don't they nerf Classic Lucane, who is OP actually?
Right, yeah.
And was she bugged or nerfed? Both ways. If they nerf a character, then let us know 1.5 years is bad. And if they have bugged the character and the character stays bugged for 1.5 years, is bad as well.
Right.
Right?
That's interesting because I think with the console version, I believe they do actually tell you whether the character's been buffed or nerfed. I don't think they use that terminology, but they definitely tell you what's been done to the character. And then it's up to the player to decide whether that's a buff or a nerf. They definitely don't say anything like that in the release notes for the mobile game. Or if they do, it's...
They do actually, from 3.0 they do.
But
not all the characters, but they do.
Right,
like a character for Digit.
Yeah. So that does bring a good question. Is it broken? Is she broken? Or did they nerf her? It's kind of up in the air there, so...
I wonder how many years it will pass until I get an answer. I just want an answer. Is it a bug or is it not?
Well,
that's all I want to know.
You're determined, man, because she's a fun character to play as well, in my opinion.
The thing is, she requires the block breaker. She does, because nowadays there are 5 million bazillion equipment gears that give you resistance to stun.
Yep.
And she's extremely squishy. If somebody resists her stun, she's in a lot of problems, and she needs this... block break on her special too, so that she can stay relevant, deal some damage, right?
Oh,
because
definitely.
If she tags in, she doesn't stun the enemy, and he blocks the entirety of her special too, then she's in a huge problem.
Yeah. Yep. Puts her in a big disadvantage right there. So, well, with that, I think we covered quite a bit. The last part is a little thing that I like to call test your might, which is basically stolen from the game because I didn't make that up. Full clarity. But what it is I'm just going to read the passive of a character, and you'll get the chance to guess what character that is, and it's probably going to be pretty easy for you. I have 2 actually, but we'll just start with the first one. So, Mand, the passive's name is Bringer of Blight. The description is...
This is Reg Devore.
Okay. That was pretty easy. I was going to say, once I read that, I was like, okay, yeah, he's probably going to get that. So congrats on that. Now, I do have a hard one. Well, I think it's probably actually pretty easy too. So let me go over this. You'll probably get it. I tell you what, I'll read the description first, then I'll give you the passive name. So this character's SP1 disables his opponent's block, making all incoming attacks considered unblockable for 10 seconds. When...
This is Noob Saibot, the new one.
You got it. Yeah, classic Noob Saibot. So the passive's name is Blessed by the Shadow. So, yeah, very good, man. You know your info. So, and with that, that's kind of it. Just a quick recap of what you liked and what you didn't like about what came out of 2020. I think we covered a lot of good stuff. We got a lot of good information. To wrap up, then, where can people find you? What are your socials? Where can they see you online?
Oh, you can find me very easy. I have Twitter, I have Facebook, but for communication, I prefer my Discord server. We are more than 300 people now. It's growing, especially around the tower. A lot of people require help for certain stages, so I'm trying to create a very helpful community that will answer questions and help new players. So the best way to find me is in Discord. I always check my comments. I do reply to some comments. I don't reply to all comments because I do have also private life.
That's hard to do.
And certain comments like when is the new update on or when is the next discounted pack, I just I got tired of answering those. But in general, the easiest way to find me is in Discord. You can find the information on my homepage of my channel or in the description of every single video that I release.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much, man, for taking time out of your day and sitting down and talking with me about this fun game that we both enjoy playing. And I can't wait to see what your channel does in the next year, as well as the game itself. So again, thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, it was a pleasure.